Hey guys, it's Tim from the Hybrid Network, and welcome to a new episode of Spotlight, the show where I pose an interesting question or just pose a general interesting idea and have you guys take it from there in the comments. So, my question for this week revolves around something that you honestly don't see as often anymore as you used to: seeing younger characters age over time. Probably the most notable examples of this would be Dick Grayson from the Batman mythos, who joined the story when he was about 8 to 12, depending on the story, and is now somewhere in his 20s. But there have been other examples as well, like Richard Rider, the original Nova from Marvel, or just other members of the Teen Titans from DC, the New Mutants in Marvel as well. And then more notable examples like Spider-Man and the original X-Men, who, while Spider-Man is still viewed as being a teen by a lot of creators, not a lot of people go back to the original X-Men in their teen days. So, why did this process stop around the more modern age of comics, where characters just stopped aging when they were introduced as being teenaged? Well, a lot of this revolves around the fact that a lot of teenage characters are introduced specifically to be teenage characters. So, having them age over time, you lose that particular demographic through that particular book. And while there will always be people who will enjoy seeing the character grow over time with them, the companies and the creators can feel that they're losing the ability to draw people in through that same appeal if the character is no longer presented in that way. It's why a lot of writers have a hard time having Spider-Man really mature over time and try to keep him back how he was when he was younger, because they want to keep that appeal that they had growing up. And then you have the problem of other characters around them having to age proportionally as well, or not doing so, depending on how the story's written. For example, Dick Grayson started being Robin, like I said, when he was 8 to 12, and Batman was in his late 20s around that time. And now that Dick is in his 20s, that would put Batman somewhere in his 40s, and then you have other characters from his mythos growing up as well, and it makes you wonder just how old Batman's supposed to be if he's not supposed to be in his 50s or 60s at this point. And then you have sort of weird things, like the fact that nowadays Kitty Pryde and Bobby Drake are presented as being about the same age, even though Bobby was in his late teens, possibly early 20s, when Kitty was introduced as being 14, because they wanted Kitty to age, but they didn't want Bobby to become old like the other characters. They wanted to keep the youth appeal with him. So nowadays, it seems like they're trying to avoid situations like that by just not having the characters age at all. But at the same time, it also creates the weird time conundrum of time is clearly passing in the comics, but no one is getting any older, even though there have been other characters who have gotten over as the same amount of time has passed. So it creates this sort of weird, paradoxical state in comic books regarding characters' ages. But what do you guys think? Should they bring this practice back of having characters age to show them grow and show time passing in the comic book universe? Or should they keep them young in order to keep the character how they were made to be, as opposed to trying to force them to become something that they're not? Well, I'll have you guys take it from there in the comments. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, this has been Tim from the Hybrid Network, signing off.